My mom made watching tennis unfun by dragging politics into it, and this year when she invited me to watch the US Open I declined, but as a result she went off the rails and stopped splitting my college tuition with me, and now I'm cooked. As the title says, my parents told me that they weren't going to split tuition anymore following an argument we recently had, and the argument involved something dating back years. We're a big sports family, NBA, NFL, MLB, and my younger brothers play sports too, both play baseball and HS, but dabbled in others. I played tennis at my community college, before transferring for my associates, and have since I was young, and I'm grateful to my parents for paying for our sports despite our differences. I still live with them, and I pay rent. I work 2 part-time jobs and split tuition until recently after an argument about something dating back years. This week and last week is the US Open of tennis, and we've watched tennis together growing up. Over the years, I've done so less and less after realizing my mom's disdain for certain players went deeper than your average rivalry dislikes. For example, my mom despises Serena Williams, and she felt that way since I was young. Whenever she plays, she roots against her. And when I'd ask why, she'd point to her outbursts against Naomi Osaka and Kim Clijsters, saying she has no class and was a bad role model for black athletes. And while I understand some of the criticism against her outbursts, I disagree with her other arguments such as her saying that she doesn't act womanly and is probably on steroids and numerous comments about her weight that just seem hateful. I understand hating a certain player or team in a rivalry sense, but that's not what she did with Serena. She personally prefers Venus or Coco Gauff and Madison Keys in recent years. But she's had similar opinions about other athletes not in tennis which seem to form a pattern. During the 2020 Summer Olympics, she said she disagreed with people who commended Simone Biles for her choice to withdraw from an event due to having twisties which could have endangered her health. She called her withdrawal weak and that commending it was harmful to teach other girls to quit and use mental health as an excuse to do so. She said that mental health was thrown around too much as an excuse to get out of facing challenges, and that's just one of her many takes I disagree with. She's had other opinions including some about the 2024 Olympic boxing match where Karini withdrew from her match, and I refused to talk politics with her too. The reason my parents decided to stop splitting tuition was because of an argument that happened last week. My parents asked me if I wanted to attend the US Open as they were purchasing grounds passes. And as I've done in recent years, I declined. That led to them asking why I don't do as much with the family anymore, like watching sports or going to sporting events or eating in my room if they are, and they've often harped on me for not acting like part of the family, as I've stopped watching things with them over the years. I decided to speak my mind instead of coming up with an excuse and told them that I was tired of watching sports together because it had become annoying. I hate how mom says certain athletes are good or bad role models for black people while bringing her political bias into it. She hasn't liked LeBron since he spoke at a Hillary Clinton campaign stop years ago, and it took the joy out of watching sports together years ago. They temporarily stopped watching basketball in the Disney bubble when the NBA put BLM on the courts in 2020. I don't want to be around her constant hate attacks while watching a game. So because I didn't want to act like part of the family, they said that this upcoming semester would be the last that they split tuition. It's already paid, so I'm on my own going forward. I believe I can find more work/hours to cover next semester myself, but I wanted to ask if it would be better to take a break after this semester to try and move out and return to school later. I think it'd be less stressful, but I could use other opinions because I'm near the end of my rope with them, and they've held firm on their position since I refused to go to the Open. Update. Almost all of the advice I received was to stay in school, and I'd love nothing more. A break can turn into years quickly, from what I've heard, and some have suggested using this semester, that's already paid for, as a time to find bearings for the next semester. I took advantage of my school's free counseling offerings and booked a session with a counselor to discuss my options. We discussed financial aid, payment plans, and campus jobs, in addition to finding a full-time job off campus. I have 2 part-time jobs, but hours are inconsistent, and they don't pay great. Even if I take less classes per semester, I believe staying in school would be the best option, and I have another session with my counselor coming up where she said we can talk more about it. I also told her about the situation that led to my parents changing their mind on tuition, and saying what I felt out loud helped me find some additional realization. According to my counselor, I internalized a lot of it because my parents weren't receptive. So talking to her was therapeutic in a way. With my family always being a big sports family, hosting Super Bowl parties, going to many games, siblings and I playing sports was the thing we bonded over for all of my life. Heck, it was a foregone conclusion that we skipped church on Super Bowl Sunday to prepare for guests and on Championship Sunday for the gentlemen's finals at Wimbledon in the morning. But somewhere along the way, it became less fun to watch sports with them due to the things I mentioned in my previous post. Mom, more so than Dad, But he has his moments and agrees with her stances, began infusing her political beliefs into sports and other areas, and it tainted the very thing our family bonded over. Sports is often an escape from work and stress, something that people on both sides of the political aisle can come together over and cheer for the same team at a stadium or party. Ignorant bliss plays a role in that, of course. But, as humans, I believe it's important to come together to find community, and sports is one of the most common ways to do so despite our differences. But when those differences caused my parents to decide to walk back their agreement to split tuition, it hurt because it felt like I was being punished for my different opinion. I love sports because it brings people together in a world where it's so hard to do so genuinely. At one of my retail jobs, our managers have huddles with team members with cheesy slogans, monthly themes, and team building activities that coworkers laugh at once the huddle ends, and criticize for being fake enthusiasm. But sports unifies people like nothing else, and I'm sad that watching sports became tainted over the years at home. The only time sports isn't tainted in my family is when we go to my siblings' games to cheer them on, and that's because no politics are involved. Every family has their own thing, and I've seen many at church when I used to go. From musical families at church who have members in the choir or orchestra to missionary families who travel together. Every family has things they bond over, and sports began to change in our family because it became less fun to watch with mom and dad. I'd love to move out sooner rather than later, but I'm weighing all of my options. Staying in school remains the priority, and I hope I'm able to find more work soon. I'm glad to have found a nice counselor who has options such as payment plans though. The payment plan is the one I'm hoping to utilize.